Well, hello there all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and we are back in Grounded 2 in the early access of this very fun game. So of course I played the first Grounded quite a lot, and now we are here in Grounded 2. Now I have been running around. You see the base is still standing strong, our little base on the log there. You know, it's a rite of passage building your first base close to the research station or ranger station or whatever station is in the game. So in the first Grounded, I of course built on the baseball, and now I'm building just outside the first ranger station. I'm just going to quickly pop in here because we have got some stuff to analyze. As you can see, I encountered a mosquito, and well, we're just going to quickly analyze that because that is going to allow us to make the mosquito needle, which is a very useful weapon and definitely one of my favorites from the first Grounded. So now our main mission today is to actually get a buggy. Now whether that is going to happen is an entirely different matter. We're going to try to let that happen, but we'll see whether we are successful in our endeavor. I have just quickly constructed myself the grub goggles over here because now that we've got the full armor set here, we do have the Lone Ranger gear effect here, which increases our bow and spear damage. So that is going to be very nice. At least when we're running around with our bow over here, that is going to be very useful. And you know what? I think we're ready. I don't think it's going to go extremely well, but we are more or less ready to head into the ant's nest. Now, ants are amazing creatures. They are what we call eusocial. Eusocial meaning that they've got a queen, and then they've got the workers and the soldiers, you know, the typical caste system, with only the queen reproducing. And some ant colonies will only have one queen, so they are what we call monogamous. Mono referring to one, gynous referring to female. And some of them are what we call polygynous, where they have multiple females or multiple queens in their colony. Now this colony is also what we call polymorphic, meaning that they've got more than just one caste. They don't just have small workers, instead some of the workers function as soldiers. So they're bigger, they've got massive mandibles. Their job is to defend the colony against threats, like us. So we would be a major threat to the ants, so obviously they have to protect themselves against us. So when we go into the nest though, we are going to be perceived as a threat, so they are going to attack us. We just have to, you know, note that that is definitely going to happen. And of course, if we are attacked by the soldiers and we defend ourselves against the soldiers, well then the workers are also going to attack us. So we just have to keep that in the back of our mind. And here comes the first soldier. There we go. Oh, we are really under attack. And I'm dead. Of course I am. You know what? I should really have actually built a lovely little clover shelter up over there. I didn't. I should have. But you know what? We are going to build a smoothie station. That will hopefully help us stay alive a bit. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. Nutrition is the key to success here. Now, the problem is that we need to get our backpack. And the backpack is in the nest where, of course, there is a soldier ant, or there was a soldier ant, and a worker ant that attacked us as a result of us attacking the soldier ant. But there we go. There's a backpack. All right, and now we just run. We just run home. Now the question is, what determines whether an ant becomes a worker or a soldier? Because that generally isn't determined by genetics, that isn't determined by the chromosomes or anything along those lines. Instead, it has to do with something called juvenile hormone and also something called inhibitory pheromones. And those two things together determine whether you've got a worker or a soldier developing from an egg. Alright, there we go. There's our smoothie station. We're not going to make liquid rage yet. Because, I mean, yeah, it's great that you've got increased damage and heals great, but Orb Weaver Fangs a little bit too valuable to use in our smoothies now. You know, instead, we may as well go for Green Machine. This is a nice one to get. Yeah, so indeed, this is what we will be making. We just need more of those slime mold stalks. So we'll get that in a moment. So we'll get those from the lab over here, because right at the back here, there are quite a few slime mold stalks. Now the slime mold may appear to be a fungus of some sort, but it's actually not a fungus. It is an entirely different organism group, so it's really quite different. But slime molds very often are confused for fungi, even though they are in fact not fungi. And, you know, I myself have often confused them for fungi. There we go. What we're looking for are these grass seeds over here. They'll be very useful in the Green Machine smoothies that we're going to be making. And there we go. A whole bunch of green machines. So as I was saying regarding the development of soldiers and workers in the ant colony, it's based on the juvenile hormones and it is also based on the inhibitory pheromones. Now the amount of juvenile hormones that the larvae actually have is to some extent dependent on the diet of the ants. If they have a very protein-rich diet, then very often there will be more juvenile hormone in the larvae, potentially allowing them to develop into soldiers. Because what the juvenile hormones will do is that it will postpone metamorphosis, allowing the ants to actually grow a bit larger before they turn into adults. So before they pupate and then turn into adults. And because they are larger, well, then they develop into soldiers. So with a good diet, there's a better potential for soldiers potentially developing in the colony. But that's not the only factor. That inhibitory pheromone that I also mentioned, that is perhaps more important. Oh, and I just realized we should probably build a nice little lean-to right over here so that we can respawn very quickly, you know, when we inevitably die again. Let's just go grab some clovers. The inhibitory pheromone is a contact pheromone. In other words, the ant larvae get it from contact with adults, in particular the soldiers in the colony. They will be giving off that contact pheromone. They will be giving off that inhibitory pheromone. So the more soldiers there are, the more those larvae are actually coming into contact with the inhibitory pheromone. And what the contact pheromone does is it makes the larvae less susceptible to the juvenile hormone. So it counteracts it to a large extent. And what that then does is that the more soldiers there are in a colony, the more the larvae are exposed to that inhibitory pheromone. And the more they are exposed to that, the less they are affected by the juvenile hormone. And as a result, the less likely they are to turn into soldiers. So that's a way for the colony to actually maintain the ratio of workers to soldiers, because the workers are there to really take care of the colony in terms of finding food, bringing it back to the colony, and the soldiers are there to take care of the colony, protect it against major threats, predators, parasites, those types of things. And if you have too many workers, well, then you are leaving the colony potentially more susceptible to threats. And if you have too many soldiers, well, then your colony may battle a bit with finding enough food and bringing the food back to the colony. So it's a very fine balance that needs to be struck, and that's where the juvenile hormones and the inhibitory pheromone will come in. We just have to check. We have just killed one of the soldiers that was moving along here. There are most likely going to be more soldiers as we go in here as well. You know what? There is another worker. We are going to just, you know, kill it as well, because otherwise he may potentially attack us later on when we come out with an egg. Now this time around, I'm going to go in with my bow drawn. Now, normally he wouldn't be able to do this because, well, it takes a lot of energy to do this. And I've just realized we still haven't built a lean-to. So let's just go do that again. Oh my word, my mind isn't working. To be honest, it is currently about 12 o'clock at night. So yeah, this is the time that I'm recording this. When I inevitably make horrible mistakes, now you guys know why I'm making those horrible mistakes. Okay, respawn point set. Now I'm ready to head in again. But as I was saying, in real life, you wouldn't be able to walk around with a bow drawn. It takes a lot of energy to do this and a lot of strength to maintain the bow like this. So normally you wouldn't draw, like in Hollywood, you often see the archers drawing their bows, holding it, and then loosing it. Yeah, that is not how things would work in real life. In real life, you only draw the bow when you're basically ready to also fire it. And you know what? A game that does that very well is actually Green Hell, because if you hold the bow, it does drain your stamina, and eventually you run out of stamina altogether and you let the arrow go, or you stop drawing your bow. I hear movement. I hear ants. Surely there is going to be a soldier in the area. I think there is a soldier over there. If we can shoot it on its weak spot, in its eyes in other words. There we go, there's another one over there. Then we could get a single shot kill. There we go, that was it. And then hopefully the workers are none the wiser. So now that this soldier isn't around in the colony anymore, it will not be coming into contact with the larvae that are developing, and as a result, it will not be exposing those larvae to that inhibitory pheromone, potentially resulting in more larvae being more susceptible to the juvenile hormone, and as a result, more soldiers developing again. There we go, there is another soldier right over there. Just going to wait for her to come back. There we go. And there we go. Okay. Great. Slow and steady, Will. Slow and steady wins the race. Or at least keeps you alive. There goes another soldier. And there we go. One shot, one kill. Now the thing is, we are going down, down, down into the nest. And very often you will have the queen deeper, deeper, deeper down in the nest, where she is better protected against threats. And then of course that's where she will be laying her eggs, and potentially the eggs will then also be in a nursery quite deep down in the colony, but not necessarily. I have seen many ant larvae just below the surface. So very often if you lift a big rock and there's an ant colony below that big rock, you'll see them scurrying around with their larvae that they're carrying in their mandibles. So it's not necessarily in a chamber deep down in the colony. We're just following the wires on the ceiling here. That is going to hopefully lead us where we need to go. And we are going deeper and deeper and deeper down in the colony. And there's another soldier. Oh, that was a miss. But it also didn't see us. So there's a chance for us to get another shot in. Right there, okay. Oh dear, there's another soldier, okay. We're just going to stand in the light here. And drink our smoothie. And block as best we can. Okay, the one ant is dead. That is good news. And the other one is stunned. That is also great news. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. We are making our way, not downtown, but downhill. Okay, so now here in this lab, you can see there we've got a normal red ant egg, and then there's also a soldier ant egg right over there. Now the eggs themselves will not hatch into soldiers or workers. As I've mentioned, it is due to the juvenile hormone and the inhibitory pheromone. That will determine whether you have soldiers or workers. As for what determines whether an ant is male or female, that will not be determined by any of that. Instead, that is determined by whether the eggs are fertilized or not. Fertilized eggs will always develop into females, whereas your unfertilized eggs will always develop into males. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I think this is exactly where we need it to be. Yes, it is. But there comes another soldier. Unfortunately, it has spotted us. Ooh, wow. Okay, never mind. It's dead. But there most likely will be quite a lot of soldiers coming after us now. So we are going to have to just make a run for it. When we inevitably encounter ants, we are going to drop the egg and then fight, and then hopefully... Oh, there is something. There's an ant. There is indeed. Come on. Now hopefully I can't destroy the egg by swinging my sword here. Alright, there we go. We've got the egg again. And off we go. Hopefully we can make it out of this colony alive. There's another one coming. Another one indeed. Okay. Just going to drink another smoothie. And then get ready to whack him on the head. Or her on the head, actually. As I've mentioned before. For some reason, I keep on calling the soldiers him, but it's actually her all the way. These are female soldiers. As I said, all ants except for the reproductive males are in fact female. Oh, there is something coming. There's a normal little worker here. And also a soldier ant, unfortunately. And we're under attack again. Ish. Oh, I think, yeah, we're under attack from behind as well. Okay. This is marvelous. 3 soldiers. This is how we die. I almost foresee it. Because now there's also a worker. There we go. Okay, right. Now luckily we are just up here. This is fine. We just need to go down into the nest again. I think everything should still be alright there. It's, I believe, easier if you actually have a friend or two with you. Because Nick and myself and a friend of ours, we went in and we got this no problem. Almost no problems. It's not as easy now when you're alone. Well, I think I got turned around and I'm turned around again. Because I don't know how I got to where I am now, but here I am, somewhere deep underground. And I honestly don't know, because my backpack and stuff is above me. So, yeah, I am lost in the halls. Ooh, hello there, that is an orc weaver. Well now, I guess we're just going to have to take it out the way we would normally take it out. Any old spider. Just slowly but surely and avoid the roar, I guess. But there we go. Parry Master level 3. Great stuff. That is what we need to avoid. There we go. And then we just whack it. And that should be it. There we go. Okay, something tells me we're going to encounter more orc creatures down here. So maybe I'm definitely lost. I am definitely lost. I don't know how I got here. I don't know where I am. And all I know is I'm back over here where I picked up the egg previously. Right, so I'm on the right track again. It's just that, yeah, between where I am now and where I need to go, there are potentially a whole bunch of soldiers still. And my main weapon, my saber, is about to break. So we've got to be careful here. I hear one. There are probably some soldiers up ahead. Now the soldiers would tend to go there where the danger is. If they sense vibrations or they pick up a scent of something that shouldn't be there, that's where they would be swarming. So those soldiers, yeah, they were very good at picking up my scent. and responding accordingly. Now what I've seen termites, and I don't think ants do that, but I have seen termites actually bump their bodies against the ground to signal to the soldiers, listen, there's danger over here by the entrance of our nest, please come and help. But I'm not sure whether ants actually do that as well, but as I say, I have seen termites do that, and there are some soldiers right up there. Just going to, pepper it with arrows. There we go, it is dead. Alright, and now let's try this again, shall we? There's another soldier. Feel the wrath of Will. Massive mandibles on the soldier here. Of course, that is the main defense. In this case, I don't think these ants can sting. Of course, some ants will be able to sting as well. They are in the Hymenoptera. Hymenoptera being the order that also includes bees and wasps. And then, of course, ants as well. And there we go. We are almost out. And we are almost dead as well. Come on. And there we go. Finally. Now, let's run. Let's run. Now, we do need to run all the way home. And we need to avoid the ants because any ants that we encounter will also chase us. That's home over there. Oops, ran the wrong way. Now, hopefully, we do not have a whole bunch of ants coming after us. There are a whole bunch of ants there, and they're all coming for me. I'm in danger. There we go. Some more ants, a whole bunch of them. Now, they are very determined to get their egg back, but we are also almost home. Now, interesting, in the background there, for a brief moment, we could... there we go, here's one. We could actually hear a cricket chirping. And I love the fact that we've got the crickets chirping because, well, that's one of the creatures that will be coming soon. So in one of the upcoming updates, they are one of the creatures that is planned would be crickets. And then also earwigs. So I'm not sure how you feel about earwigs, but I think that'll be a very, very interesting addition. They are fascinating creatures. So I look forward to seeing earwigs in the game, and I look forward to seeing crickets in the game as well. Because we didn't have any... Oh, we do just need to... Oh, there we go. We need to just get rid of this ant. That is still coming after us. And he's dead. Okay, great stuff. So here, what we do need now is we need grub hide, sprigs, and acorn shell. What we're going to do is we're just going to plop this down right over here, where I think it will pick up those things. Oh, we need 1 acorn shell and 3 sprigs still. I'm pretty sure we have acorn shells. Okay, so I guess we'll just do that in the morning. We're just going to leave this egg up here for now and then grab everything we need in the morning. Just going to set the respawn point again and voila. There we go, we do have acorn shells. Come on. Talking nonsense. Lots of sprigs as well. And then also we have got grub hide. There we go. Okay, so this should allow us to now just go drop this down in there. But there we go. Incubate. And now by the end of this day, we should have our buggy, which will be absolutely marvelous. Now, while we're waiting for the buggy, let's quickly head up this milkweed plant over here, because, well, the caterpillar is, of course, chilling up there. Let's have a look at it, shall we? So here we go, a caterpillar of the Cecropia Moth, Hyalophora cecropia. And this one is basically ready to pupate. So I know it is basically ready to pupate because of, well, first of all, its size. I mean, it is massive. But secondly, also, the coloration of these tubercles, these little bumps on the caterpillar. When they start out as first instars, and instar is a larval stage of the caterpillars here, or many invertebrates, many insects have different instars. So with the first instar, they appear black in color due to these little black hairs that are on these tubercles. And that gives them the blacker appearance. Then in the second instar, the body starts becoming a little bit more yellowish green, and by the third, fourth, and fifth instar, they become this green color. Towards the fifth instar, they kind of become a bluish greenish color, which is kind of what we also have with this caterpillar over here. But then also towards the end, there by the third, fourth, and fifth instars, you've got these tubercles developing these different colors, yellow, blue, or orangish. So maybe not reddish, but orangish in color. And these little spines, these hairs, also drop off. They disappear towards the end of the fifth instar. And then they're basically ready to pupate. And that will be towards autumn. And, well, we may not be able to see the oak tree from over here. Oh, there we go. There is the oak tree right over there. Let's actually head to this leaf over here. Should give us a good view of the oak tree. There we go. The oak tree is dropping its leaves, so it's obviously autumn. And that is corroborated by the fact that the Cecropia Moth caterpillar here is at the stage it currently is at. And we definitely know that it is autumn and not that it may be spring and maybe they've got multiple broods during the year, because the Cecropia moths are what we call univoltine or monovoltine, meaning they've got one reproductive season. So they have one brood per year. So this one is definitely in one of its final instars. It's definitely autumn. I know it's a small thing, but I love the fact that the caterpillar here is at the right instar stage at the right time of year. I was kind of holding out hope that we would actually see the Cecropia Moth as well, because, well, they are the largest indigenous North American moth. They are massive in size, but I don't think we're going to see that. The fact that they've got the final instar of the caterpillar here at the right time of year, we most likely would not see the moth emerging. These caterpillars would spend the winter months in their cocoons, and then they would emerge as moths, as massive, massive moths at the start of spring. And they generally live for 2 weeks or so, and then they die. So that's about it then. That's the end of the Cecropia Moth then. But in that time, they will be laying eggs, and the eggs will then start hatching into these caterpillars, and they will start growing, feeding on a variety of plants. Now, mainly they feed on things like maple and apple and cherry as well. They generally, as far as I recall, they don't feed on milkweed plants. So I'm not sure what this little guy is doing here, but it's not actually feeding on it. It will be feeding on maple, cherry, and some other broadleaf plants. But now those spines, I did mention it previously, those spines, you may think that, okay, well, that's obviously a defense mechanism, that's obviously an irritant, that if you touch the Cecropia Moth caterpillar, you're going to have a bad time with it. But in fact, these spines are harmless to us as humans, and generally things that may want to eat it. So yeah, we can jump on this one, we can, ooh, it's obviously not happy with us getting on its back, but technically you could jump on it, you could touch it, it won't sting you, it won't burn. But please do not go and just pick up random caterpillars that have spines on them and hope that you get the Cecropia Moth. Yeah, you may get one of those very, very burny ones, and you don't want that. Alright, so yeah, definitely don't want that. Now, our buggy there is a quarter done. It will still be quite some time before it actually hatches. So we are going to, for now, call it a day here, everybody. So thank you very much for coming along for our little journey into the ant's nest there. I'm sure we'll talk a bit more about ants as we go along. Of course, I have got a whole playlist about ants, actually 2 playlists about ants in Empires of the Undergrowth and Empire of the Ants, 2 games I have also played that were ant-centric or ant-focused. So feel free to go and have a look at those on the channel as well. Of course, if you've got any comments or questions, please pop it down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. And of course, if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more content like this, please do give it a nice like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It's always marvelous to welcome more people to the Ecology Squad. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. I'll see you all soon. Cheers.